amazing Monday morning to you listeners out there. The program you're on to is In the Papers, coming to you from the stables of iPower 102.7 FM. It is a program where we preview and review headlines making rounds in the papers for your listening pleasure. I am iNIOLUWA Adekoya, and with me on the program this morning is
Florence IBHAREMAN.
Talking headlines this morning, I've got with me the Daily Post newspaper, the Punch newspaper, the Guardian newspaper, and the Nation's newspaper. We have
headlines from the Sun newspaper this morning. We have headlines from the Punch, the Hope, and the Guardian newspaper this Monday morning.
Right about now, we will go on a short break. When we get back, we'll give you headlines making rounds in the papers today. Yes, glad to have you back. Beginning on the top of the list of our headlines this morning from Ondo State.
Yes, we have this headline coming to you, not from Ondo State precisely.
Okay.
Yes, from Osun State, and it says a police rescue Osun commissioner arrested over campaign ground shooting.
And now over to the Punch newspaper. Presidency article in fresh war of words over killings.
Yes, still taking headlines where we have Saraki Abdulrazak clash over gift to new Ilorin chief imam.
And now talking Osun 2026, Onyilola-led PDP faction dumps Adeleke, backs APC Oyebamiji.
Yes, still taking headlines from the Hope newspaper this morning, where we have Ondo Anti-Graft Agency arraigning lawyer over alleged 50 million naira land fraud and forgery.
Still talking Osun poll on the Punch newspaper, Omisore, others in attendance as Akonde meets APC leaders.
Still taking headlines, and still also from the Punch newspaper, where we have Tinubu treks to office, eat once daily, and that report is coming from the NRS boss.
Still on the Punch newspaper, article accuses Obasanjo of 20 years campaign of lies and deceit.
Talking sport, we have this from the Punch saying 18 teams qualify for 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup.
And now talking international matters, Germany deports 137 Nigerians and 5 chartered flights.
Lagos law student dies after jumping from 4-story building, and that headline is coming from the Punch newspaper this morning.
PFIPC scandal, Adeyemi demands media lawyers' presence before reps probe, and that is on the Punch newspaper.
Away from the Punch and now to Daily Post, where we have a Lagos government warns celebrities, influencers against patronizing admirals.
Still on the Punch newspaper, talking Awujale, ruling out sacks leader, 2 others over alleged fraud.
Still taking headlines from Daily Post, where we have a Nigerian tackle NRS boss Adedeji over Tinubu striking to office, eating one's daily comments.
And now to the Nation's newspaper, court freezes 1.45 billion naira pending suit determination.
Away from that and now to the Sun newspaper, where we have a bandit impose 500,000 naira levy on Benue farmers.
Still on the Nation's newspaper, federal government orders immigration to deploy special team to UK.
We would go on a very short break. When we come back, we'll give you the major headlines and the news steering. Yes, glad to have you back. The program is still in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM, a program designed to give you a heads up on what the paper is saying today. Your daily drive for news making major headline in today's newspaper. Beginning from the Hope newspaper, talking on Ondo State, where we have Ondo East Southwest Water Policy Summit on Friday. Now, the details. Stakeholders in the water resources, public sanitation and hygiene, health, environment, education and related sector across Nigerian southwest region are expected to converge in Akure, this Ondo state capital, on Friday, August 14, for a regional consultation workshop on the development of the National Water Compact. Commissioner for Water Resources, Public Sanitation and Hygiene, Mr. Ayodele Akonde, revealed this while speaking with the Hope in Akure. According to him, the consultation is being organized as part of effort to ensure broader stakeholders' participation in the development of a nationally owned, coordinated and implementable National Water Compact (NWC). The workshop is set to bring together representatives from the 6 states of the Southwest region, including Lagos, Ogun, Oyo, Osun, Ondo, and Ekiti. It is expected to provide a platform for stakeholders to examine the first draft of the National Water Compact and make a recommendation that will strengthen the proposed policy framework. He explained that the consultation is being facilitated by the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation through the National Technical Working Committee, which he noted has successfully developed the first draft of the National Water Compact. For more details of that news, see the Hope newspaper with this headline: Ondo or Southwest Water Policy Summit on Friday.
And now to the Punch newspaper, talking Osun 2026. Oyinlola-led PDP faction dumps Adeleke backs APC Oyebamiji. And now to the details. A faction of the People's Democratic Party in Osun State, led by former governor of the state, Olagunsoye Oyinlola, has declared support for the candidate of the All Progressive Congress in Saturday's governorship poll, Bola Oyebamiji. Oyinlola speaking at an event held in Osogbo, where Oyebamiji's ambition to be governor received the faction's endorsement, stated that his group decided to part ways with the incumbent administration of Governor Ademola Adeleke due to lack of inclusion in his handling of the government affairs. Oyinlola, joined by former secretary to the state government, Mr. Fatai Akimbade, former PDP National Vice Chairman, Southwest Alhaji Tajuddin Oladipo, however, declared that they were not dumping the PDP. He added that the group adopted Oyebamiji's candidature, having considered the decision necessary and out of conviction and sincere desire for the progress of the state. Speaking on behalf of the leaders and members of the PDP in the state, Oyinlola described the endorsement of Oyebamiji as a child of necessity, conviction, and sincere desire to advance the course of the state in the interest of all and sundry. He maintained that the leadership and members of the party remained resolute to the vote massively for the emergence of Oyebamiji as part of efforts to rescue the state from a scourge of political nepotism. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline Osun 2026. Oyinlola-led PDP faction dumps Adeleke backs APC Oyebamiji.
Still talking Ocean State, and in response to Oyinlola's Oyebamiji endorsement won't stop Adeleke's victory, and that is coming from Accord. The Ocean State chapter of the Accord Party has said the endorsement of the All Progressive Congress candidate in the next Saturday's poll by ex-governor Olagunsoye Oyinlola and some other leaders of the People's Democratic Party in the state will not stop Governor Ademola Adeleke's re-election. In a statement he personally signed and obtained in Oshogbo on Monday. Ocean Accord Party Chairman Victor Akande alleged that Oyinlola, former secretary to the state government, Fatai Akimbade, and the former commissioner for special duties, Tajuddin Oladipo, worked against Adeleke's election in 2022 but failed to stop the governor from winning. Describing Oyinlola's decision as being of no political consequence, Akande insisted that the former governor actually worked against Governor Adeleke in both 2018 and 2022. Akande submitted that the troll rejoined the governor after the victory in 2022 and benefited greatly from the administration, affirming that the former governor had only gone back to his vomits. He tasked Ocean people to strengthen their determination to re-elect the governor through ongoing grassroots mobilization, expressing happiness that fifth colonist who never had an interest in good governance had left the winning platform. The Punch had earlier reported that the fraction of the People's Democratic Party in Osun State, led by the former governor of the state, Olagunsoye Oyinlola, on Sunday declared support for the candidate of the All Progressive Congress on Saturday's governorship poll, Bola Oyebamiji. Oyinlola led a PDP fraction. Dumps Adeleke backs APC's Oyebamiji. For details of that news, see the Punch newspaper with this headline. Oyinlola's Oyebamiji endorsement won't stop Adeleke's victory, and that is coming from Accord.
So, on the Punch newspaper, article accuses Obasanjo of a 20-year campaign of lies and deceit. And now to the details. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has accused former President Olusegun Obasanjo of sustaining a campaign of lies, political manipulation, and orchestrated deceit against him for more than 2 decades, saying the former president's latest allegations are collapsing like a pack of cards. Atiku stated this through his media advisor, Paul Ibe, in a reaction to a recent claim by Obasanjo that the former vice president mobilized the late Speaker of the House of Representatives, Gali Nahaba, to remove him from office during their tenure between 1999 and 2007. Obasanjo reportedly made the allegation on the 23rd of July, reviving one of the long-running political controversies surrounding his relationship with Atiku. In a statement issued in Abuja, Ibe said it had become a pattern for Obasanjo to revive allegations of betrayal and corruption against Atiku whenever an election cycle approaches. This time, he chose to make a man who passed away nearly 3 years ago the subject of his baseless allegation. He added that Nahaba, who died in 2023, could no longer respond to the allegations, describing the claim as malicious. Ibe, however, cited former member of the House of Representatives Abubakar Buhari, who served as chief whip during the 1999-2007 session, as contradicting Obasanjo's account. According to Buhari, Nahaba never sought Obasanjo's removal, adding, however, that Atiku instead acted as an emissary to the lawmaker on behalf of the former president. The Atiku camp also challenged another narrative surrounding the relationship between Obasanjo and Atiku during the build-up to the 2003 presidential election. Ibe cited a video in which former Abia State Governor and then People's Democratic Party Governor Orji Uzokalu said it was Atiku who knelt before PDP governors to seek their support for Obasanjo's re-election. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, Atiku accuses Obasanjo of 20-year campaign of lies and deceit.
Still taking headlines from the Punch, now talking education. CBT best way to curb Miracle Center's examination malpractice. And that is coming from the WAS official. Now the details. The West African Examination Council has called for strict computer-based testing to curb examination malpractice in some centers, popularly known as miracle centers. An official with WAS office in Maduguri, Timothy Manga, gave the advice in an interview with the news agency of Nigeria on the ongoing concern over examination malpractice and its impact on the credibility of public examination and education certificate. NAN on Monday reported that Maga said allegations of the existence of miracle examination centers in Benue had become worrisome, though there has not been any official confirmation of the existence of such centers in the state. In Nigerian Education Contest, Punch Online reports that the Miracle Center is an examination center where organized examination malpractice is officially facilitated, allowing candidates to obtain unauthorized assistance or answers during exams. It described the development as a threat to the education system, saying schools should be known for quality teaching rather than the ability to facilitate examination malpractice. For more details, see the Punch newspaper with this headline: CBT Best Way to Curb Miracle Center's Examination Malpractice. And that report is coming from the WAS official.
Yes, the program is still in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. And out to the Punch newspaper, talking PFIPC scandal at DME demands media. Yes, talking PFIPC scandal at DME demands media lawyers' presence before reps probe. And now to the details. The House of Representatives Committee investigating the controversy surrounding the Presidential Foreign Investment Promotion Council is yet to determine how and where it will question the Council's self-appointed Director General at DME, Adini. A source familiar with the proceedings has disclosed. The development followed DME's insistence that his lawyers and journalists be present before he appears before the committee for questioning. The other committee, chaired by Yusuf Gadi, representing Kanke Kanam Pakshin Federal Constituency of Plateau State, is investigating how the purported council obtained office space at the Federal Secretariat complex in Abuja and secured more than $1.32 billion in 2026 Appropriation Act despite allegation that it has no legal backing. The probe comes amid growing controversy over the council's activities and its alleged operation within government structure without formal recognition. Lawmakers are seeking to establish how the organization gained access to government facilities and was allocated public funds, as well as determine whether there were failures in the processes responsible for verifying government agencies and approving budgetary allocations. The investigation has drawn public attention to concerns about institutional oversight, verification procedures, and the management of public funds. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline PFIPC scandal at DME demands media lawyers' presence before rep probes.
And as CDC deploys 10,000 personnel for Osun governorship election. Now the details. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has deployed 10,000 personnel from 10 state command to reinforce security operations ahead of the Osun State governorship election. The Commandant General of the NSCDC, Professor Ahmed Adi, ordered the deployment, which is scheduled to commence on Monday today as part of measures to ensure a peaceful and secured electoral process. According to a statement, the NSCDC spokesperson Afolabi Babawale, the personnel comprising uniformed and undercover officials have been drawn from Oyo, Ondo, Ekiti, Ogun, Lagos, Kwara, Edo, Kogi, Delta, and the Federal Capital Territories Command, with about 1,000 personnel from each command. Audi also directed the deployment of specialized units, including the Commandant General's Special Intelligence Squad, Special Weapon and Tactical Units, Specialized Female Squad, Mining Marshal, Special Strike Force, Crack Squad, and K9 Unit. According to the statement signed by the NSCDC National Public Relations Officer Babawale Afolabi, the specialized unit would support intelligence gathering, crime prevention, protection of crucial assets, crowd control, and other election-related security operations. He ensured effective coordination. The Deputy Commandant General in charge of operations, Ayuba Philip, alongside designated Assistant Commandant General and other senior officers, will relocate to Osun State to supervise the core election security operation. He also noted that NSCDC personnel had been adequately briefed to remain professional, neutral, and respectful to citizens' rights during the election. For more details, see the Punch newspaper with this headline. NSCDC deploys 10,000 personnel for Osun governorship election.
Yeah, still on the Punch newspaper, Germany deports 137 Nigerians in 5 chartered flights. And now to the details. Germany deported at least 137 Nigerian citizens in 5 documented chartered operations between February and June 2026, according to recent reports. The document arrival comprised 27 Nigerians deported in February, 37 deported directly by Germany as part of a 50-person joint European Union operation in March, and 24, 23, and 26 Nigerians deported in April, May, and June, respectively, according to the figures contained in reports monitored by Newsman. The figures indicate an increase in the use of chartered flights to return Nigerians from Germany and other European countries, with several of the operations involving cooperation among the European states. On February 18, 2026, a batch of 27 Nigerians arrived at the Lagos Cargo Airport following a deportation operation from Germany. According to recent reports, the flight was operated by World 2 Fly and departed Stuttgart before arriving in Lagos shortly before 2 p.m. The report said the operation was primarily enforced by Germany, although one person described as severely ill and mentally unfit was transferred to Slovakia and joined the 26 people deported from Germany. It is also identified Baden-Württemberg as a major participant in the operation and said Stuttgart had hosted both the December 2025 and February 2026 deportation operations to Nigerians. The report further alleged that while some of those deported had serious health conditions, others had lived and worked in Germany for several years. It cited the case of a single mother and her 3 children who were deported from Sinderfield district in Stuttgart, despite reportedly having documentation relating to their resident status. According to the report, the family subsequently returned to Germany after intervention by a volunteer and confirmation from a local foreign authority that the deportation had been made in error. According to the report, the family Furthermore, the February deportation also coincided with Nigerians' participation in preparations for the voluntary national review of the Global Compact for Migration ahead of the 2026 International Migration Review Forum in New York. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, Germany deports 137 Nigerians in 5 chartered flights.
Still taking headlines from the Punch, where we have a Lagos law student dies after jumping from 4-story building. Now the details. The Lagos State Police Command has confirmed the death of a 23-year-old student of the Nigerian Law School, Faith Alayande, who reportedly died after allegedly jumping from the rooftop of a 4-story hostel building at the institution's campus in Victoria Island, Lagos. Punch Metro length in a telephone conversation with the command's public relations officer Aki Abimbola Adebisi that the incident was reported to the police after the deceased was found unresponsive in the hostel premises on Friday. Adebisi noted that the matron of the institution reported the matter and disclosed that another student and a relative reportedly found a suicide note written by the deceased student, prompting them to search for her. She noted that before they could locate her, she had already jumped from the rooftop of the four-story hostel building. The matron of the hostel reported the incident, prompting police operatives to visit the scene. A body has been evacuated to the morgue for preservation. For details of the news, see the Punch newspaper with this headline. Lagos law student dies after jumping from four-story building.
And now to the Daily Post newspaper, talking matters of insecurity. Tinubu to declare National Security Conference open in Abuja. And now to the details. President Bola Tinubu is set to declare the National Security Conference open in Abuja. Spokesperson for the Jama'atu Izalatil Bidi wa Ikwamati Sunnah Jibu is the World Muslim League Conference Committee. Gabadin Muhammad disclosed this in a statement recently. According to him, the event will deliberate on challenges such as banditry, kidnapping, and related issues which currently constitute threats to national security. Similarly, the Nigerian government-backed initiative will also deliberate on issues of religious unity in the country. The Sultan of Sokoto Alhaji Saad Abubakar will be among the leaders attending the security conference. The conference will also include global collaboration roundtable aimed at advancing sustainable socio-economic development. The gathering would provide a platform for participants to exchange ideas and strengthen partnership towards achieving peace, stability, and sustainability development in Nigeria. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Insecurity, Tinubu to declare National Security Conference open in Abuja.
Away from the Punch from my end and now to the Sun newspaper where we have Nigerians' debt hit 159.3 trillion naira as government borrows 14.6 trillion naira in 1 year. Now the details. Nigerians' total public debt has climbed to 159.27 trillion naira, rising by 14.6 trillion naira in just 1 year as the federal and state government continues to borrow to fund their operations and projects. The latest figure released by the Debt Management Office (DMO) shows that the country's debt rose from 144.67 trillion naira at the end of December 2024 to 159.27 trillion naira by December 31, 2025. The increase means that Nigeria added about 14.6 trillion naira to its debt burden in 12 months, representing a 10.1% rise. The debt also increased by 5.98 trillion naira from 153.29 trillion naira recorded at the end of September 2025. The latest debt stock covers the obligation of the federal government, the 36 states, and the Federal Capital Territory. Of the 159.27 trillion naira total, 84.84 trillion naira is domestic debt, while 74.42 trillion naira is external debt. Domestic debt therefore accounts for more than half of Nigerians' total public debt, with the balance owed to foreign lenders. The rise in debt comes as government face the challenge of funding infrastructure, security, social programs, and other public service while struggling to raise enough revenue. Nigerians' domestic debt increased by 10.49 trillion naira during the year, from 74.38 trillion naira in December 2024 to 84.84 trillion naira in December 2025. These represent 14.1% increase. For more details of this particular story, see the Sun newspaper this morning with this headline: Nigerians' debts hit 159.3 trillion naira as government borrows 14.6 trillion naira in 1 year.
Yes, the program you're still onto is in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. Right about now, we will go on a short break. When we get back, the phone lines will be officially open for comments and contributions to any of the news that piques your interest. We will be right back. Yes, glad to have you back. Like I made mention earlier, the program is in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. The phone lines are officially open for comments and contributions to any of the news that piques your interest. The number to call is 0816 552 4699 0816 552 4699. You can also join us live on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at iPower1027 FM.
Yes, I'm still taking headlines, and this still coming to you from the Sun newspaper this morning, where we have JAM resolves 5,000 UTME complaints in 5 days. Now the details. The Registrar of the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAM, Professor Segun Aino, has cleared more than 5,000 pending complaints from candidates and other clients of the board within 5 days. The complaints covered various challenges faced by candidates before, during, and after the conduct of the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination (UTME). They included difficulties in generating profile codes by candidates who had previously registered with telephone numbers they no longer had access to. Cases involving biometric verification failure were also reviewed, and some identity as a genuine failure, with some identified as genuine failure to occur during UTME registration or the examination. JAM's Acting Director of Public Affairs and Protocol, Dr. Fabian Benjamin, said in a statement yesterday that INO achieved the feat after relocating to the board service compact with all Nigerian Service Corps units to personally examine complaints and identify ways of resolving them promptly. INO said the move was part of the administration's effort to improve service delivery and ensure that candidates receive service commensurate with the fee they paid. For more details, see the Sun newspaper with this headline: JAM resolves 5,000 UTME complaints in 5 days.
Yes, so now to the Daily Post newspaper. FFK fumes as Islamic scholar says those against Muslim ticket should leave Nigeria. And now to the details. The Nigerian ambassador to South Africa, Femi Fani-Kayode, has rejected claims by the Islamic scholar Sheikh Yahya Jinga that Nigeria is a Muslim country. In a viral video, Sheikh Jinga, who was preaching to Muslims at an event, said, "If you do not want to accept a Muslim ticket, you should leave Nigeria because it belongs to us." The commenters continue to generate backlash online as Christians rejected the claims. Reacting, Fani Kayode, in a statement posted on his official X handle, said the cleric's remark is unhelpful and untrue. Worst of all is the fact that it is highly provocative. Kindly take note that it is a very slippery and dangerous slope to take. and is best avoided. Nigeria is not a Muslim country, and neither is she a Christian country. She is secular and multi-religious state comprising both Christians and Muslim in equal numbers, and that is our strength. He further stated that President Bola Tinubu's Muslim ticket for 2027 is gaining acceptance only because of caliber, ability, and sincerity of purpose, character, utility, and electoral strength of our presidential and vice presidential candidates and their ability to deliver, and not because they are Muslims. One day we may have a Christian ticket too, because with God, all things are possible. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline FFK fumes as Islamic scholar says those against Muslim ticket should leave Nigeria.
You're still on to iPower 102.7 FM, and the program you're listening to is In the Papers, your daily drive for news, making major headline in today's newspaper. Now, moving to the Daily Post from my end, where we have FCCPC resolves 15,000 consumer complaints in Lagos. Now, the details. Lagos Zonal Office of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission (FCCPC) has resolved about 15,000 consumer complaints are received through its online and physical channel within the zone. The zonal coordinator of the commission, Dr. Olubumi Oti, disclosed this during an interactive section with journalists at the FCCPC office in Ikeja. Oti explained that the consumers could submit complaints through the Commission's official website or visit its Lagos corporate office to seek a redress when they are dissatisfied with product or service. She noted that consumers have the legitimate expectation to receiving value whenever they pay for goods and services, adding that those whose expectations are not met have the right to seek assistance from FCCPC. According to her, consumers are expected to first raise their complaints directly with the relevant service provider and seek a resolution before approaching the Commission. When the matter remains unresolved, she said consumers can file complaint through the FCCPC online portal or submit themselves or submit them personally to its Lagos office. Oti said complaints must provide sufficient information to enable the Commission to investigate their cases effectively. She listed the required details to include the service provider's address and location, receipts, or other evidence of payment, the amount involved, and the specific form of redress being sought. The zonal coordinator disclosed that the Lagos office had received approximately 17,000 complaints through the online portal and at its office, out of which about 15,000 cases had been successfully resolved. For more details, see the Daily Post newspaper with this headline: FCCPC resolves 15,000 consumer complaints in Lagos.
And I'm moving to the nation's newspaper. Nigeria Gidado Shuaibu appointed IPRAUN youth representative. And now to the details. Nigerian media entrepreneur Gidado Shuaibu has been appointed a United Nations youth representative by the International Public Relations Association ahead of the forthcoming Golden World Awards in Athens, Greece. The appointment was formally conveyed by IPRA Secretary General Philip Shepard, who confirmed that Shaibu will work with the association's UN Bureau in New York, represented by Jim McQuinney and Marth Kossel, to strengthen IPRA engagement with the National United Nations and Youth Focus Initiative in global development conversations. The development came as Nigerian PR agencies, including Image Merchants Promotion Limited and LSF PR, secure shortlist position across multiple categories of the 2026 GWA Comptroller General of the Nigerian Customs Services GC Bashir Adewale Adeni is scheduled to receive a special honor at the Athens ceremony on the 25th of September. Shaibu serves as Special Assistant to the Director General of Voice of Nigeria, VON, supporting strategic communications, media management, stakeholders engagement, and public affairs. He also works as a digital communications specialist at Bazi University and consults for organizations such as the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, Nigerian chapter of Transparency International. A rising figure in Nigerian media landscape, Shaibu is the publisher and CEO of Youth Digest, producers of Youth Digest Nigeria. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the nation's newspaper with the headline Nigerians get a Dow Shaibu appointed IPRAUN youth representatives. We've got a call. Hello. Yes, you can call us back. The number to call is 0816-552-4699 for your comment and contributions as regards the news read out to you on the program this morning.
Yes, still on the papers where we have this talking sport from the Sun newspaper this morning. Enugu City Marathon 2026, driving economic growth, rewarding athletic excellence. Now the details. Enugu is set to host the second edition of the Enugu City International Marathon on August 29, 2026, as the state leverages sport to unlock tourism, create jobs, and energize youth engagement. The flagship event, backed by the Enugu State and organized by the Inlayo Sport Management, Nigeria's leading road race organizers, is being positioned as a gold label style race to attract elite African and international athletes while driving mass participation. More than a race, the Enugu City Marathon is a strategic platform for economic growth. The 42-kilometer marathon kicks off at 6:30 a.m. from ShopRite Abakaliki Road, winding CIC Road, and concludes at the Okpara Square by 12:30 p.m. The course is designated to showcase Enugu's culture, hospitality, and heritage to thousands of runners and speculators, while with registration rising daily from athletics across Nigerians and the diaspora. The anticipated influx is expected to drive demand across hotels, transport, food service, and local businesses during race week. The initiative aligns with the state government's vision to reposition Enugu as the primal destination for business, tourism, and sport in the southeast. For more details, see the Sun newspaper with this headline: Driving Economic Growth, Rewarding Athletic Excellence.
Yes, still on the nation's newspaper, court freezes 1.45 billion pending suit determination. And now to the details. The Zamfara State High Court, Gusau Judicial Division, has restrained the financial institution and two other parties from dealing with more than 1.45 billion naira pending the outcome of the substantive suit before it. Justice Mukhtar Yushau granted the interlocutory injunction on the 6th of May in suit ZMS GSM 472-2025, an application titled the main case ZMS GS 3-2025. A copy of the order was obtained recently. The order restrained the bank along with its agents, servants, officers, privies, and assigns from releasing, transferring, or otherwise dealing with 1.45 billion naira, standing to the credit of the first and second defendants Jackson Okwevo and Ronchens Group PLC respectively. The court also barred the first and second respondents from tampering with, transferring, drawing, debiting, or dissipating the funds held in the bank's custody, pending the determination of the suit before it. The plaintiffs in the matter are Simon and Davis, one other. Justice Yushao ordered the first and second defendants to refund and restore any monies moved to an affiliate company's account, with a third respondent during the pendency of the substantive suit. The judge clarified that any funds beyond the stated amount, which forms the rest in the raise in the case, remain available for the defendants to use as they see fit. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the nation's newspaper with the headline "Court freezes 1.45 billion naira pending suit's determination."
Yes, so on the pages of the Sun newspaper this morning, talking entertainment. Very dark man pulls out of P Square family dispute following backlash. Now the details. Social media activist Very Dark Man has announced his decision to step back from the ongoing family dispute involving the members of P Square following criticism over his involvement in the matter. The activist made this known in a video on Sunday, days after coming under pressure from Nigerians online to stay out of the dispute involving Peter Okoye, Paul Okoye, and their elder brother Jude Okoye. Very Dark Man had earlier attracted criticism after defending Jude and questioning claims made by Peter against his twin brother and their former manager. However, in his latest statement, he said his position was based on listening to both sides of the dispute, adding that Jude also had a role to play in the breakdown of the relationship. He apportioned 40% of the blame to Jude over his refusal to step down as P Square's manager after Peter requested his removal over claims of financial mismanagement. Very Dark Man also blamed Peter, his wife, family members, and all the parties involved, saying responsibility should not be placed only on one person. The activist said his comments were intended to provide a balanced view of the matter, announcing his decision to step away from the family feud. For more details, see the Sun newspaper with this headline: Very Dark Man pulls out of P Square family dispute following backlash.
And now to the Daily Trust newspaper, talking Borno abduction, 87 days without our children, tortoise, says parent. And now to the details. 87 days after terrorists abducted pupils from Musa Primary and Junior Secondary School in Askira, Ubaloku government area of Borno State, their families said the pain of their absence remains as raw as it was on the morning they were taken. The abduction, which occurred on Friday, the 15th of May 2026, at around 9 a.m., shattered the peace at Musa community. Armed insurgents raided the school, taking the pupil, including toddlers, into captivity and leaving behind a trail of trauma, empty classrooms, and devastated homes. Speaking with newsmen, parents of the abducted students' children expressed profound despair, noting that they have not received any official information regarding the whereabouts or conditions of their loved ones. Compounding the grief, the families claim that both state and federal authorities have remained largely silent on the situation, leaving them to navigate their nightmares in isolation. Nearly 3 months now, the psychological toll of uncertainty we endure is still haunting us. We live in constant fear and uncertainty, a parent, Mr. Saleh Buba, said. He further stated that since the children were abducted, no group has claimed responsibility for the abduction and demanded ransom for them. Our wives cry every day and barely sleep at night. We constantly think about their conditions under captivity. It said that each time the rain started falling, his wife and other affected women would be restless, demanding answers about their children. My wife will cry like a baby thinking about the condition of our little children under the heavy rainfall. Also speaking, a mother, Josephine Johanna, described the situation as a calamity that had befallen the community. Many families were left anxious, no government visit, no update or visible effort to rescue our children. She said when the government officials told them to exercise patience and promised to rescue their children, we all thought by now our children would have returned home, but it has become a forgotten issue. This is where we are today. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Trust newspaper with the headline, Borno abduction 87 days without our children, touches says parents. Yes, and with that, we've come to a wrap on today's edition of In the Papers. We sincerely hope this review has kept you informed of conversations making rounds